everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So, continuing to work on the tail feathers here. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get finished with them this month because I think I have one more session after this one. So, yeah, I might get a 0 next month. We will see. But yeah, still quite happy with the progress I'm making. It's coming along nicely. So, yeah, I was saying we hadn't had any cold snaps, but then it happened. So, not for very long, just a couple of days, but yeah, the whole, minus 32 ambient temperature feels like, minus 43. Yeah, yuck. But then it warms up again. It's supposed to warm up again in a couple of days and be like -1. So, yeah. It's just all over the place. It's wild. But, yeah, it was a chilly few days. Hoping that we won't get a major cold snap in February. Yeah, it's usually this time, end of January to end of February when we have the big cold snaps. So hopefully not. Okay. So yeah, I think there's kind of a mix of blocks and confetti, so yeah. Not sure what kind of progress I'm gonna make. Be a bit of a mixed bag, I think. So yeah, I have this little indent here and there's kind of a feather forming right there. So I'm gonna fill that in and then I'm probably gonna continue carrying on downwards as there's more feathers that do that shape again. So yeah, like I said, a lot of red here. It is a bit darker than the mock-up, I find. Yeah. This is the second project I've had that as well. The Majora's Mask I did last year. Was it last year or the year before? Can't remember. They all just kind of blend in after a while. Yeah. But anyway, the one that I did before this project, yeah, it was darker than it looked on the mock-up and on the picture that came with the pattern, but it looked really good, I think, when it was done, so I was happy with it. But yeah, I find that, I don't know, maybe it's the brightness settings on my tablet or something, but the mock-up always looks a bit paler, I find, than the actual finished project. Yeah. I also like to print out the picture just to have something to refer to while I'm stitching. And yeah, I find same thing. It always looks a little bit darker than the printout, but again, that could be my printer. Yeah, that makes it look a little more washed out. I don't know. Or yeah, if it's just an optical illusion or what, but yeah. And then I draw lines across it where my passes end so that I know sort of what bit of stitching is in what pass. So yeah, just can show you guys like that. And then I just, yeah, drew the lines across it so I kind of have an idea of where it ends on the picture. Yeah, that was somebody started doing something similar in the Heaven and Earth Designs group. They would grid the pictures to match the pages because yeah, I used to work off of paper and so stitch by page, and so yeah, same thing. It was kind of nice. So it had lines going the other way too, so you could see where each page ended, which was kind of nice. But yeah, now with Pattern Keeper, I don't have the page breaks on. I stitch right past them. because that's how I used to keep track when it was paper. It was, page, 26 out of 35 done or whatever. Yeah. Sort of do the math there. Okay. That one is pretty short, I think. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's not right. Yeah, I did something wrong here. Oh, you know what I did? Because I put this in the wrong place. Oh my gosh. That's what I get for not cross-checking with my grid lines. Yeah, I bet some of you saw that too. What are you doing? Yeah. Well, I say this is one of the reasons why I don't leave gaps, because if I make a mistake like that, I catch it really quick. Like immediately I went, wait a minute. And then I checked with the grid lines. No, those were parked correctly, which meant, yeah, I didn't do the ones next to them like I should have. Silly me. I'd say, oh, I haven't had my coffee yet, but I don't drink coffee anymore. Yeah, I had to give it up. It was giving me gut pain. I do have a seam ripper for this, but I can't locate it right at this moment, so I'm just going to be very careful. Use my scissors there. Yeah. I don't mind. It's still attached on the other end with the pin stitch, but I don't feel like ripping those out. So yeah, so I have to try that again. Yeah, what a way to begin, hey? Oh, well. Yeah, I always say this reduces counting errors because I am always going to make them. This just means I make fewer of them. So, yeah, because... So, yeah, I went down here. It should have been up here. It was my fault. Like I said, I didn't look closely enough with my grid lines. And so... But yeah, that was the thing when I stitched cross country. Oh my gosh, short piece. When I stitched cross country, sometimes I would make a mistake like that. I wouldn't find it till days later. Yeah, and then I was really stuck going, well, what the heck did I do here? And yeah, figuring that out was such a pain. So, and yeah, also if I find it right away, I know exactly sort of where the thread begins and ends, which can help when I'm trying to fix my mistake. Yeah, knowing exactly what direction I carried it in that and can help. Yeah, if I know where the loop start is, then I know where to rip back to and that sort of thing. So, all right, so now I got myself back on track. Yeah, so kiddo had his grad photos taken, so we should get the proofs for those soon, and they give us one free shot, so yeah. Yeah, my husband drove him in to his appointment because it was really, really cold. So, and and he said, "Oh man, I almost felt like crying seeing him in that, you know, in the cap and gown. Like, yeah, it really does go by so quickly. Like I said, when they're little, it can seem like the days drag on forever, but the years just fly by. Yeah, before you know it." They're taller than you. All right, so yeah, that was a really short piece, so just did that bit, and then I'm going to sort of fill in here and then start to work my way down again. So yeah, so like I said, a bit of confetti here should keep things interesting. yeah, again, when I first started stitching this, her feathers, there's more little bits of green and blue on part of her wing than I expected. They add a nice little accent. Yeah, so I said I have a squishmallow for my armrest. He's getting all warped. My son said, "So are you going to fix his shape?" I said, "No, he's getting worn into the proper groove for my elbow." So, yeah, he's warped. But yeah, makes the perfect armrest. It's just the right combination of squishy and supportive. Yeah. Pardon me. Yeah, we had some ice fog out there. So it's like fog, but it forms ice crystals on things. Some places they call it the hoarfrost, but yeah. We had some of that, and I said, yeah, it makes things slippery out there, but it sure is pretty. The trees, every little branch and stuff outlined in the ice. Yeah, there was one time there was a tree and it sort of had layers and layers and layers of ice built up over days until the whole thing was bending down and made like a little cave. I took a picture and put it on my Instagram because I thought it looked pretty cool. That was a couple of years ago. So yeah, like I said, I could have dug around for that end of the one I cut to remove it, but I'm not really concerned because these pin stitches all get stitched over anyway, so one extra end on the back is not that big a deal. Because, I mean, let's face it, there are tons. Yeah, with these colorful patterns. Try that again. There we go. Oh, that one did not disappear very well. I kind of it went sideways instead of going straight down. Yeah, again, I probably could have left it. I'm just being picky. I really don't want to trim that, but I might have to. Yes, I want to make sure it kind of goes between the threads, then it disappears a little bit better. It buries them a little bit better. No chance of them showing through, plus they're a little bit more secure that way, I find. Okay. Lots of little short ends here. So yeah, I'll have 3 more passes after this one is done. About a third of the way through this pass, so. But yeah, I said I called it pretty early that I don't think I'll finish by the end of 2025. It would be nice if I did, but I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, there's a fair bit of confetti in what's left. Yeah, because I think I went faster when I was working through the sky and like the peacock's chest and stuff. There was a lot of really big blocks, so those went a lot faster than these ones here with, yeah, flowers and feathers, which are more detailed, so they go a little slower. Yeah, so it's our wedding anniversary this week, 23 years, which is, yeah, again, I don't know how quick, how that went by so quick. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was saying it's kind of wild because when my husband and I met, his parents had just celebrated their 25th, like a year or two before we started dating. And then, yeah, like, now it's coming on to ours, which is just like, how the heck did that happen? Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, my mother-in-law passed before they made it to 50 years, but yeah. Yeah, that was end of 2023, and yeah, I tell you, it's still sometimes hard to wrap my head around the fact that she's no longer with us. Okay. Yeah, I'm getting lots of pin stitches here. Yeah, there was one I saw the way somebody had finished their threads. They would pin stitch sort of like next to the stitch they'd just done rather than a little bit away from it like I do. And so they ended up, the back of their piece almost looked like a really short shag rug. Yeah, it was kind of cool. Like those old latch hook rugs, if you ever did those. Yeah. Yeah, I did that for a while. We found some kits at the thrift store that somebody had never made. So yeah, when we were kids. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. Mine was a rabbit. I can't remember what my sister's was now. Yeah. We didn't use them as rugs. We hung them on the wall like tapestries once they were done. Yeah. Well, they're so pretty, like it seems a shame to walk on them, right? Yeah. My grandma has a couple she did that. They're really small ones and they just hang on the wall. Yeah. They're art. They're not for actually using as a rug. Yeah, so I was talking in the last few sessions about digitizing our old photos, and I realized I think there is a box in the basement somewhere that I think also has some more photos, and the negatives would be with them, so I'm gonna have to dig that out and yeah, make sure to preserve those as well. I thought I had collected all of our negatives into our fireproof box, but I guess I missed some, because yeah, I know there's some photos that I did not see when I was scanning the negatives, so yeah, I'll have to see if I can find those. Yeah, one of the buildings I go to, doctors there, they have pictures of the town from like way back. But I said I'm kind of annoyed because they're historic pictures and nobody put dates on them, not even an approximate date. And I said, yeah, it's kind of annoying because I'd like to know when they were taken. I mean, maybe they don't know, but and I kind of had to guess by looking at like the cars. So I was like, well, I think this one looks like 1920s because of the vehicles. Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't be sure. Yeah, that was in a, I think, social studies class in high school. Our teacher gave us different old photos and we had to kind of extrapolate as much information from them as we could. Yeah. Like some of them, I think we're back to the sort of the dawn of photography. Yeah. Late 1800s. Okay. Yeah, it was interesting because they said one of the reasons, like, I remember they said for a long time people didn't smile in photos because you had to be still for a long time and it's hard to hold a smile for an extended period. Well, they said also part of it was that people were basing it kind of from when you used to have sit for having your portrait done, which was sort of a very, you know, serious sort of thing, you know, grand kind of thing that only, you know, very rich, important people could afford to have their portrait painted. And so, yeah, the medium changed, but the idea didn't. So people were still very, you know, serious and stuff in their pictures because that's sort of how they had always been, right? Yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting. Oh, goodness. Yeah, my sister and my cousin, they like to dabble in photography, and they actually do the old, like, with film and have the own dark room and everything like that. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, for a while my sister thought she'd like to make a career of it, but yeah, it's a hard one to break into. But yeah, she still enjoys doing it as a hobby. Yeah, I said you kind of almost have to, if you're going to use film, develop pictures yourself. Like, it'd be hard to find a place that will do them for you now, right? Back when I was growing up, like, everywhere had, you know, a photo, sort of like the grocery store had it, you know, Costco had it. Like, yeah, you didn't just have to go to the photography store to get it done. Like, yeah, you know, Sears had it. Yeah, but now, yeah, now it's like a specialty that'd be hard to find. Okay, so yeah, a little bit of closing in here, but trying to avoid having it to be too much. Like I say, I try to not close in on all four sides. I'm usually pretty successful at that. I tell you, things are not threading nicely for me today. Yeah, so the other half is out on the road again for work. Yeah. Well, they have a deadline of later this year when they're switching equipment over to a new system. So, yeah, he has like, sheesh, at least 24 locations. Yeah, and they all need to be changed over and that. So yeah, like actually putting new, you know, hardware in. Yeah, you can't just remote that in. You have to actually physically be there. So yeah. Yeah, it's been busy. Yeah, so he doesn't do overtime. He does the, you know, bank time. And yeah, he's he's like, for Pete's sake, I have an entire week banked now because of the extra time. Yeah. But yeah, it's really nice. They're pretty flexible and let him set his own schedule. Yeah. His boss said that as long as it gets done on time, you know, I'm happy. Which, yeah, my husband really likes because he had a previous job where they really micromanaged stuff and that drove him nuts. Yeah. Okay, so long press and you can just tell it to highlight all of the stitches in a square or in the page. Yeah. And if you do a long press when no color is selected, then you have the option to fill the entire square or page, which can be nice if you, say, started a pattern not using Pattern Keeper and you want to be able to very quickly fill in, yeah, what you've done. Then it can be done very quickly that way. Yeah, I still have not received the new update that I think they said they were rolling out in like December or something. Yeah, because I think they said it was supposed to be better support for fractional stitches because as done originally it doesn't have. And possibly they're looking at getting back stitching in there, which hasn't been an option yet. So yeah, I don't do projects that use any of those specialty stitches, but I know a lot of people do. So because they said one option you can do is instead of opening it in Pattern Keeper, it has an option to open the original PDF and then they do the back stitch from there, because yeah, the back stitching won't actually show on this searchable chart, at least not yet. But yeah, like I said, the app designer is pretty awesome. They're happy to take suggestions on how to improve the product, and that's for, you know, something that's a one-time purchase. I said I would have been more than willing to pay a subscription fee for it because it's so well done. And I'm usually someone who despises subscription fees. Yeah, like I'm somebody who likes to buy my music and then can listen to it as many times as I want. I don't like, they keep trying to push this stream and subscribe, and I'm just like, no, that's not happening. Yeah, I know a lot of people don't have DVD players and stuff anymore, but I still like having my physical media. Yeah. Like, I'm not anti-streaming, I do stream, but yeah. For something that I'm gonna wanna watch more than once, then yeah, I like to have it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever. Yeah. Like my Star Trek collection. Yeah, we had a service person come over once, and he was working in the rec room, and he said, wow, you guys are really big Trekkies, huh? Because yeah, you could see we had like everything, Voyager, Next Gen, Original, DS9, all filling up shelves on the DVD. Yeah, of course, yeah, that is one thing, is if you have limited storage space, that's one drawback, but yeah. And yeah, like if it's something I'm only gonna watch once, then obviously I'm not gonna buy it on DVD, but yeah. If it's something I wanna watch more than once, then yeah, I don't like to keep paying for it. Yeah, because it's funny because one of my friends was saying, oh, I've really fallen behind on watching Outlander, I should catch up. And I was like, well, I can loan you the DVDs, I got the whole thing, you know. And she's like, oh, I don't even have a DVD player. I was like, oh, okay. And I was thinking, well, I guess you could watch them on your computer, but then laptops don't even come with a built-in disk drive anymore, right? Yeah. Yeah, you get USB and that's it. Yeah, there was someone saying that's something I kind of wish they would bring back. But then I guess also that's one more thing can go wrong with your computer, right? My dad had a laptop that, yeah, you had to kind of like physically put it in while the disc was kind of spinning. You had to kind of, yeah, start it spinning yourself kind of thing because the motor didn't really work. Yeah, so it was kind of a pain. Okay. There we go. So that feather is, yeah, taking shape. So yeah, I will probably sort of go as far as there with the color, and then I'm going to start working my way downwards. Oh gosh. Spending more time fiddling with it, trying to get it to thread than I should have just trimmed it in the first place. It would have been faster. Ooh. Yeah, it was like a teacher was saying, they had a bunch of material and they wanted to digitize it and they scanned it, but then the scanner wasn't very good at reading the text. So then they had to go through and proofread the whole thing. And they said, in the end, I should have just typed it myself. You know, they said, yeah, I thought I was saving myself time, but in the end, it took so much time to proofread and fix all the errors that, yeah, it probably would have been faster. Oh, it was so funny because there was a podcast I was listening to that talks about books, and they were saying that, yeah, a lot of the old books that are being digitized now, like they were mass market paperbacks or whatever from like the 90s or whatever, and they go through this optical data scanner, but depending on the font, it can't always read it correctly. And so it says that you're left with some very funny typos that, yeah, somebody needs to sort of go through and fix it, which they often don't. They just sort of scan the book, throw it up there, you know, so they can start making a few bucks from it. And so it said the optical data scanner doesn't know its arms from its anus, because it said sometimes it will read the word arms as anus because of the kerning on the font. And so, yeah, said you're left with some really funny, you know, translations. Yeah, instead of, you know, she threw her arms around his neck. So, yeah, it was pretty funny. And yeah, I can catch that now. Sometimes there were books I was reading and it said she pressed her ups together. And I'm like, her ups? And I sort of pictured in my head, I'm like, oh, I bet it said lips. But because of, yeah, the way the font was, it couldn't. And it just sort of guesses, does its best guess. Yeah. Based on, and then, yeah, like I said, somebody has to go through. But they said, yeah, the only thing with that too is that in order to scan it, they actually have to kind of wreck the book. They have to cut the spine off and then it pulls every page through and scans it. Yeah. So there's a lot of times people won't want to do that if it's, you know, a rarer book. Yeah. In that case, if they want to digitize, somebody will have to actually type it out, which of course at that point could get costly. You have to pay somebody for their time to do that, right? So, yeah. Yeah, and I guess, like I was saying, like ups is technically a word, so that's why it didn't flag it. Yeah, so if you use the spell check, it would catch the stuff that was, you know, obviously not a word, but yeah, it's not going to catch something like that, which, well, that's technically a word. It doesn't fit in that sentence. Okay, so I think, yeah, I'll just do sort of this thread here, and I think that's where I'm going to stop working sideways and start working down. Let's take a look, actually. Maybe I won't even go that far, yeah. I don't like to spread across too big of an area. I find I end up with too many live needles at that point, and it starts to get tougher to juggle. So usually don't skip and leave gaps, but since it is connected on one side, I will do it right there. Okay, let's take a look. I may actually go over to the side there. Well, I can carry that one over to the right, so I'll just use a short one there. Yeah. Yeah, so the length of threads and where I have them attached is generally the biggest deciding factor for me of yeah, I was talking about streaming shows. We're watching Lost, which is on Disney Plus, and it's been giving us troubles. We're on the 3rd season, and yeah, it keeps crashing, and or the lip sync goes out with the sound. So yeah, it's really off or whatever. And yeah, and it's not the whole app, because we've been watching Home Improvement with our son, and it never has any problems. But the Lost does for some reason. It's kind of frustrating. I can't press skip recap, because when it does, it makes it lose its mind and get stuck, or the lip sync's totally out. And yeah, I don't know why. And like I said, the first 2 seasons it played just fine, and then this one, I don't know what's going on with it, but it doesn't want to. So yeah, we never watched that show when it first came on, so a lot of friends recommended it, so don't give me any spoilers. But yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. I know I have heard that the quality went down after a certain point, so we'll see. Yeah, because we had that with a couple of shows. We tried what's the one called now? Earth Final Conflict. That was it. It was done by Gene Roddenberry, who of course did Star Trek, but he was only involved in like the first season. And yeah, the first season was really good, and then it kind of started to fall apart. And by the time we got to the 5th season, it just wasn't watchable anymore. We were so bored and frustrated that yeah, we quit. But I said, you know what? I don't regret having watched the beginning of it, even if we didn't feel it was worth finishing. It still gave us some good entertainment. So yeah, I'm not someone who throws things away just because of the ending, unless it's really, really heinous. Well, like I often have said before on this channel, that Deep Space Nine is my favorite show, but I have to say the finale, there were parts of it I wasn't very happy about. Yeah. But I'm not going to throw the whole show out, because there were a few bits that I wasn't as thrilled of how they tied things up. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because the peahen is standing facing the opposite way of the peacock, all of her feathers, all the colors seem to kind of flow the way I would normally shape my diagonal, so that's nice. Yeah. when I was stitching his tail feathers. It was the other way, and I decided to stop fighting it, so I stitched in the other direction. Yeah, it's interesting watching different ways people stitch. I've seen some where they're very, very disciplined. They go row by row, stitch by stitch. They never do one out of order. I'm like, yeah, I'm not disciplined enough for that, but it does look cool to see. You know, and then there's other people who stitch all over the place, just wherever the heck they feel like it. Yeah, there was one I saw who just kind of meandered around and did pages as they felt like it and stuff. Yeah, looked kind of cool too, the way it's like a maze through the pattern. So yeah, as Needlebug always said, there's no rules, just the ones you make for yourself. Yeah, she made a video that she's withdrawing from social media, at least for the time being. So yeah, I did tell her she will be missed. Yeah, she was how I really got my start in converting to parking. Yeah, I had looked at so many videos and just, it didn't want to click for me. And then I watched her first video on diagonal parking, and went, okay, I get it now. And then that's when I finally started. Yeah, I found that in the long run, it has made my stitching faster. So, biggest being because I don't make mistakes as often. Or miss stitches where I have to find them and fill them in again later. Yeah, talking about different ways people stitch. I was watching, who was it now? Oh, I feel so bad. I forgot their name. They're stitching the Pandemic by Long Dog Samplers, and they're using a variegated yarn, and usually they tell you should cross each X as you go so that the variegation, the way it will appear in the finished stitches. And instead she did it the Danish way, they call it, where you do, you know, a bunch of the bottom legs and then cross into the top legs. And actually I thought it was a really neat effect. Yeah, it looked different. It made almost like stripes, but really subtle stripes, but I thought it looked really cool. Yeah. So yeah, like again, they tell you to do that, but there's no rules. She did it differently, and I thought it looked really cool. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, it's starting to form kind of stripes this way. Yeah, so I'm gonna sort of start with one stripe here, and then later I will build to the next one. But that's where I'm going to stitch for the moment. So yeah, I have to cut it off somewhere, so I'm probably gonna cut it off around this grid line for now. And then later, eventually it all gets filled in though. So learn my lesson. I'm double checking with the grid lines this time. So I don't mess it up like I did with those two stitches in 939 right off the top, which were wrong. Well, I did say I was going to cut it off there, but actually now that I look at the way the colors are flowing, I might actually extend this over a bit more. Yeah. I very rarely stick to the plan. It generally changes as I go. So yeah, I wasn't going to go that far over, but now that I see the way the color forms across there, I may actually just do that. Yeah, like I said, I used to stitch diagonally and stick to a roughly 10 stitch wide column, but diagonal column, but now I don't really stitch that way anymore, and so I turned my diagonal lines off because I wasn't using them anymore. Carry this a little bit. Again, I probably could have crossed as I go to be a little more efficient with my thread, but oh well. I didn't think of it till I was halfway committed, so. Well, not bad. I'm past 100 stitches, way before the hour mark, so yeah. Not bad. Yeah, so I may actually cut it off at that grid line, but again, I'm not committing myself because I may change my mind. But yeah, for the moment, those can go aside, out of my way. All right, so head back over this way. Yeah, I almost started there, but then I went, nope, the grid line is on the wrong side. That will not work. Yeah, so actually I'm going to be working more horizontally for a while. So yeah, this may be a good rough cutoff point. I just had to go a little bit further to the right for a little while so that I didn't do things out of order. Well, if you look at that's kind of the edge of one of the feathers there, so that's why. Yeah, kind of followed this shape. Yeah, so I don't think I'll make it to 61% by the end of this month, yeah. So yeah, to be done by the end of the year, I would have to sort of be about 3% per month, and I didn't manage that, so yeah. Like I said, I don't think the end of the year is going to happen, but we'll just keep plugging away. Okay, so I'm going to have multiple threads with this color. I can tell that right now. Actually, I was going to use a smaller piece, but now that I look at the pattern more closely, I think I see a way that I'll just use a longer piece for now. Okay, so now I'm going to go all the way over and start filling in from there. These have some threaded ones, but I'm just going to set them aside for now and leave them threaded, because I may get back to them soon. If not, I'll just unthread them at that point. But yeah, I can kind of leave them to the side and not get them tangled, so. I have plenty. I work with a big bulk amount of needles, so I'm not going to run out anytime soon. Yeah, so I was saying last time I had a sore throat, and looks like I managed to not catch the cold, so that was nice. Yeah. So I took a lot of vitamin C, made sure I got my rest, and yeah. formed a little weird bump there, but smoothed it out. Oh, I thought so, but actually, try that again. There, that's better. Fluffy's trying to come back. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a whole bunch of different threads of this one all over the place, I can see already. Yeah, because it's scattered all over the place. Oops. There we are. So yeah, I'm going to kind of divide this color up a bit. Oh, no, wait a minute. Right, actually, I'm going to do that one there. Yeah, so not as many colors in this area, but they're kind of all scattered around and interlocking with each other, so that means I usually tend to get multiple strands of one color. That happens. It's just a personal preference, but I prefer to do that rather than carrying one strand all over the place. I find it can become quite inefficient and use up more threads, so yeah. Okay. Yeah, this one. It's not very long, so I'm pretty sure I'll use it up by the time I finish these stitches I've highlighted. So, and then I think that's going to be where I call it a day because my legs are starting to fall asleep. So, yeah, need to get up and get my circulation going. Yeah, it is too cold to go for a walk outside today, so I gotta use my exercise machine to get my steps in. It's technically not steps because it's not a treadmill, it's like a strider. You put your feet on the pedals and kind of move them back and forth, but yeah. My phone will still recognize them as steps, so... because I guess the movement is kind of the same, so yeah. At the very least, get the exercise in and then, yeah. Yeah, 183. That's a pretty good number, I say. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.